welcome to MyCollegeCoaches video coaching series. My name is Sarah, and I'll be your coach today for FAFSA 101. In this session, we'll explain what FAFSA is and how it figures into the financial aid process. We'll talk about the timing of FAFSA and your financial aid applications. We'll cover how to fill out the form, step by step. We'll also discuss common next steps in your financial aid applications and awards and acceptances. So let's start it off right. What is FAFSA? It is the free application for federal student aid. It's the main financial aid application, and it covers federal Pell Grants, federal work-study, federal student loans such as the subsidized and unsubsidized Stafford loans, and it is also the main application for your institutional grants and needs scholarships, by which I mean at the schools to which the student is applying, the institutional grants given by the school, grants and aid, as well as need-based scholarships that a college or university may offer. It's based on your parent and student tax data from the year previous to which you'll start school. So a word on timing. FAFSA opens up as early as January 1st of the year in which the student will enter college. Most schools have a priority deadline that is either February 1st, March 1st, or somewhere in between those two dates, which means that because it's based on the tax returns to be submitted that year, you probably want to consider doing your taxes a bit earlier this year than you have in past. For example, say the student is entering college in 2011. FAFSA will open up on January 1st of 2011 for that year. You will need to submit your entire financial aid application to your school, including FAFSA, somewhere between February 1st and March 1st, using the information that you will be submitting to the IRS in your 2010 tax return, sometime in the calendar year 2011. So what is a priority deadline, which is listed here as what the schools call February 1 to March 1? Well, it means that you could submit your financial aid application later, but that a lot of the decisions will be made by the school already, and so there just might not be as much money to award. So the rule of thumb that I'm going to harp about quite a bit in this session is do your taxes as early as you can in any year where you're going to fill out FAFSA. And fill out that form immediately thereafter with those tax returns in hand. Understand you're going to be filling out FAFSA each and every year that you're going to be attending college and grad school. So this form is not going away anytime soon. So let's talk about filling out FAFSA. Now I know it's little comfort, but it's actually gotten a lot simpler than it has been in past years. The form is down in the number of pages. Print out the worksheet at www.fafsa.gov. Go to this website and get a little familiar with it, and there's a printable worksheet that you can start with. Basically, read through the worksheet and understand the questions that are asked on it. It's not entirely complete. There will be questions online, depending on your answers, that don't appear on this form. But if you can read through the worksheet and understand everything that's on it, you're pretty much on your way to being able to fill out that online application without too much hassle. But the reason we say read through the worksheet first is that it's a real pain if you go online and start to fill out the real application and realize you just don't have the information you need at your fingertips and have to go back and find something else. At the very least, you'll need to assemble your tax returns from the previous year and all those tax documents for this year, for both the parents and the student. Also have your bank and mortgage statements ready, as those might be applicable in the answers to the questions. Now, you can fill out FAFSA without this year's tax return being done, but you're going to need to estimate those numbers carefully. Most schools require, as part of the financial aid application, that you submit the tax returns that you do eventually file with the IRS, and they will compare the numbers on those tax returns to the numbers you submitted to FAFSA. If they don't match, they may adjust your award letter accordingly. That can be a real hassle, so you don't want to go there. Now, let's go through FAFSA itself. The first page on that worksheet is about the student's information. It's pretty basic. Name, citizenship, and marital status. Selective service registration for any male under the age of 25. It asks about drug convictions, about the parent's education, and about the student's dependency status. A word about this last bullet. The student's dependency status is whether or not the student is legally a dependent of the parents or not. It can have some serious financial implications, and students sometimes will try to claim that they are independent of their parents, and that their parents' assets should not be taken into consideration with regard to the financial aid situation. Student dependency is a legal status, so you need to answer these questions very, very carefully. And before you try claiming that a student is independent, make sure that they fit those requirements, because the colleges will absolutely check to make sure. Now, the next page is the parent's information. Social security numbers, names, dates of birth, and then a lot of questions that can be answered by referring to the parent's tax returns. If you've done your taxes, this is pretty simple, because you just follow the directions for each question. They refer to different line numbers in the 1040 documents, where you go to that line, you enter the number that you find there, and you've answered the question. It's really straightforward if you've done your taxes. It may also include information about capital gains and business assets if those are applicable to your situation. Now, this is just a plug from our financial people, but it can be helpful to have the students and the parents fill out FAFSA together. Along with sort of customizing your student to the whole financial aid process, getting them to understand right up front the difference between what the family makes, what the family can afford to give the student for college, and what these forms say that the family can contribute is a financial lesson that it can be very helpful for the student who has probably never filled out their taxes before, but is going to have to in the next couple of years. Now, I understand it's obviously incredibly uncomfortable for some parents to share this information with their children. It was incredibly uncomfortable for my parents to fill out FAFSA in the first place, because they'd never shared that level of detail about their financial background with anyone before. Not their children, and certainly not some strange bureaucrat somewhere reading this form. Unfortunately, this is how financial aid works, and so it's probably best now that the student understands as well, because the student's going to have to make the decision where they're going to go to school along with the family. And if they ever do grad school, they'll be filling out FAFSA all by themselves soon enough. The next page is student information, and it refers to the student's tax return with very similar questions with the parents. Follow the directions, find the numbers on the 1040, submit the answers. It'll also ask if the student has a spouse, and will ask about those assets as well. Probably not applicable for undergrad, but seeing as FAFSA is every single year of higher education, the student may very well have a spouse when they get to grad school, law school, med school, business school. It'll also ask about any investments in business assets that the student has, including those college trust funds that you may have for your student. Whether they be the tax-protected ones or some other form, they're going to be asked about when filling out FAFSA. So how do you submit FAFSA once you've gotten through these worksheets? When you're ready, when you're confident you've got everything you need to answer all the questions, go back to www.fafsa.gov. You're going to fill out and submit the application online. You're going to sign it electronically using a PIN number. I can't stress this enough, but save that PIN number. It will save you a lot of hassle in the years to come. You'll be filling out FAFSA every single year this student is going through higher education. Like I said, all 4 years of college, but also every single year of graduate education. Grad school, med school, law school, business school. And it's always the same PIN number. So keep it somewhere you're going to be able to find it. Once you finish the application, you'll see the expected family contribution. Take a deep breath. This is just FAFSA's number. It does not mean that this is the number that each school you're applying to is going to expect you to be able to contribute. It's the federal government's formula estimate. So, once you've got all this